Welcome to Home Beans, where the heart of Nevada comes alive. I'm your host, Heather Brown, and this is a place where we uncover the real stories behind the people who make our state extraordinary. From unforgettable adventures to everyday moments that shape us, this podcast is all about the voices, the faces, and the experiences that make Nevada truly unique. Let's dive in and get to the heart of what home means. Well, welcome to another episode of Home Means. Today, I'm excited to have our Lieutenant Governor, Stavros Anthony. So let's just dive in. So you lived in Nevada for 4 decades. Do you have like a moment that sticks out to you where this place first became just not a place that you lived, but a place that you were going to grow and you really felt belonged?
Yeah, probably. I came out here in 1980 to join the police department, and joining a police department is a pretty difficult ordeal. I mean, you have to go through a selection process, very rigorous. You have to go through a police academy. You have to go through field training, and then you have to get off probation. So doing all that is like a full-time thing. But once I was off probation, I was able to go back to Detroit, get married, and then pack up a car and a U-Haul and drive back out to Las Vegas. So I think it really kind of hit me when I got back to Las Vegas with my wife that, I may be here for a long time. I have a full-time job. My wife's out here. We're talking about having kids. We lived in an apartment for like 6 months, and then we ended up buying a house. And at that point, it's like, I think I'm going to I don't think I'm going anywhere. I think I'm going to be here for a while. That's when it kind of hit home.
You knew that you had put in the foundation to go through the academy, to be on the police force. Your wife agreed to come out here.
Yeah.
And now that's when you felt like, all right, I'm going to build a home here. I'm not just going to live here. Yeah.
And part of it is I didn't want to go through a selection process again. I didn't want to go through a police academy again. I didn't want to do all that over. I wanted to make it with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. So, yeah, and then 45 years later, I'm still here.
Well, we are happy that you chose us.
Oh, thanks.
So in your eyes, what is one thing about Nevada that has never changed?
I think the one thing about Nevada that never changes is that we're always reinventing ourselves. We're really not stagnant. We don't sit around and do nothing. We're always looking for the next thing. I mean, if you look at Las Vegas, the casinos that were around during the 60s and 70s, they're all gone. They've all been blown up. Literally, they've been blown up. The Four Queens, the Hacienda, they're all gone because they were great at the time, and the industry could have just stuck with those, but it would have been stagnant. Eventually, people would have shown up here. But you get somebody like Steve Wynn that builds the Mirage, which was one of the biggest gaming resorts, and everybody else. Well, we need to do that too. Mm-hmm. And then you have things like, we were known for buffets, the $6.99 buffet and the $8.99 steak dinner. We got some of the best restaurants in the world here in Nevada. We used to be known for, kind of like the cheap gifts that you would buy, mugs and T-shirts. We have some of the biggest, classiest stores in the world here. And we used to be known for entertainment, which then was great, showgirls and Elvis and Frank Sinatra. Now we got all Cirque du Soleil. We have the Sphere. And another example is sports. I remember when I was on Las Vegas City Council, and we were trying to talk to professional sports about coming to Las Vegas. They said, absolutely not. It will never happen. You can't mix professional sports and gaming. There'll be corruption and graft and all this stuff. Now we are the sports capital of the world. We have hockey, football, baseball's coming, basketball's going to be coming, Formula One, NASCAR. We have professional lacrosse, women's basketball, volleyball. on and on and on, because we just don't sit around waiting for somebody else to do something. We are constantly changing who we are. And Reno's going through the same thing. They are constantly changing and reinventing. The Grand Sierra Resort is building a $2 billion resort arena. So I think that's what is so big about Nevada is and really, if you look at our history, I mean, gaming started in the 1930s, but nothing really happened. We had some small gaming revenues, but it wasn't a big deal. So we had to come up with another tax base, and we ended up coming up with quickie marriages. No, first it was quickie divorces.
Yeah.
And then we were doing so well there, it says, let's try quickie marriages. We can get them on both ends.
Get them on both ends.
I mean, we legalized prostitution, which is not something you always want to talk about, but Nevada is one of those states where we're always trying something new. We're always kind of on the edge, and it works for us. And who knows what the next thing is going to be in the next 20, 30 years. It's just you can't predict it because we're always looking to change who we are, which is not a lot of other states. A lot of other states are kind of been the way they've been for 30, 40, 60, 100 years. So, and that's why people move to Nevada. They move to Nevada because they can reinvent themselves. They don't have to, it's something where you can jump in and try something and nobody's going to really punish you for it. Might punish yourself, but we're not going to punish you. We want you trying something new. I think that's why Nevada is so unique.
No, I love that answer because it is the perfect way to summarize who we are. What is consistent? That we always reinvent ourselves. We're always leading with yes. We're willing to make changes. We're not waiting for a crystal ball to tell us what's next. We're always thinking ahead. And I could not agree more. I think we show that time and time again with everything. I mean, the Sphere, right? Mm-hmm. What a test bed audience for, you've got 50, and honestly, I'll take this out to an economic development thing. The Sphere tested out, would this work? Could a huge arena like this that's unlike anything else actually work? And when people want it, yes, of course. But we also have 56 million people that visit Southern Nevada every year. So you have every socioeconomic, you have every ethnicity, every corner of the world comes here. If you want to test something out, I tell companies that all the time. You're not going to get a better test audience than right here in Las Vegas.
Right. And you know what? We're also lucky we have UNR and UNLV. I mean, they're constantly doing research that's cutting edge. They're having a big impact on not only Nevada but the world about the things they're doing. So, I mean, if you even go back to nuclear testing, I mean, we were the first ones to do nuclear testing. It worked out for the country great because it provided for our defense. Had some issues with radiation, obviously, that they didn't anticipate back then, but that's that's who we are. We want to be different. We want to be on the edge. We want to try new things.
Yeah. We have a culture of yes and.
Yes. Right.
And I love that. So thinking back over your career, police officer, city council member, regent, and now obviously the lieutenant governor, when you've been serving the Nevada community, has there been a moment that felt very personal or meaningful that has helped shape the next decision? So like maybe as a police officer, you had something happen, which is why you ran for city council or regent or...
Yeah, I don't think there was a specific incident. I think it was the culture that I kind of fell into. And I spent 29 years with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and when people think of policing, they think of the movies, they think of television shows. So people think that police officers are 100% of their time. They're shooting their weapon. They're in car chases. They're arresting bad guys. They're in jail. They're constantly doing what you see as police work on television, where really 90% of the time what police officers do are solve problems in neighborhoods. They'll get a call about a domestic violence, and they have to spend some time helping that family, not just so much arresting somebody, but helping their family. They'll get a call about disturbing the peace in a neighborhood, and that turns into meeting with 4, 5, 6 neighbors, trying to solve some issues between them. Um, you'll get a stolen car in a neighborhood, and that turns into there's some problem solving things that are occurring in that area. So um, that's what you end up doing on a regular basis is problem solve, helping people, working in the community to make the neighborhood better. And when you do that over a long period of time, that's just who you become. And that kind of spilled into being on the Las Vegas City Council, because you're primarily in the community trying to make neighborhoods better. On a lieutenant governor level, you're trying to do that all over the state of Nevada. So I just don't sit around in my office. I'm traveling all over the state trying to find out what are the issues that we need to do to help make your lives better, whether it's housing, whether it's health care, whether it's land use, whether it's dealing with food issues. That's really what you're doing. On a regent level, you're primarily doing that on a campus, whether it's a university or a college or a community college. You're trying to do things that are going to make life better for students, for faculty, for administrators. So after a while, that's what you do. It's not about me. It's about what I can do to make life better for the people that I represent, whether it's a state, whether it's a ward, whether it's a police department area, whether it's a university campus. So you learn that, and that's kind of what you do your entire life, which is what I basically have done my entire life.
I had the opportunity to go on a ride along, and you said it best. I did not even realize that 90% of our night would be counseling.
Yeah.
There was a domestic violence call. We had to go back 2 times, I think, during my ride along. There was a neighborhood that we needed to go talk to some kids. Then there was a runaway. It was all counseling. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really important thing for citizens to realize, that like it's not the movies. It's not even, the movies who try and make a drama about, the police force themselves. So you think that you would get the full thing. It's not true. And I was so shocked at not how good they were, but just how, I'm like, are they even being trained as counselors? Like, when does this happen? And it's just so crazy to me, because you go through the police academy, but then you have to keep learning on the job to ask better questions. And I was so I was really blown away.
And a lot of that you can't be trained in. You just have to you have to learn it on the job. So you go to these events, you go to these incidents where it's not really crime related. There's a problem that needs to be solved, and you just kind of learn that. The only thing is, as a police officer, you have to be ready to get in the car chase, to arrest a really violent person, to point your gun at somebody, to even take their life if you have to. So, police work is kind of like 90% routine stuff and then 10% sheer terror. That's kind of how it works out. So you have to be trained in these very critical incidents. But you go through training maybe for counseling, but you have to learn that on the job. Yeah. You just have to learn to be empathetic. You have to learn that not everything is crime related. You have to learn that just do whatever you can to help that person, help that family, help that neighborhood, and even better, know what the resources are to get them to somebody else who can give them some long-term help. So, and you get a lot of satisfaction out of that. You do.
I had a police officer tell me once that he approached every interaction with, this is they're interacting with me on their worst day
Right.
of their year, or, and so I have to know that this is what I do every day. They might not have ever had to do this. And I really was like, wow, that's such a sense of awareness, but also it's so important that you're that cognizant, you're like, yeah, this is their worst day.
Yeah.
And, they're going to be.
People aren't calling 911 to wish you Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday. Or they're in distress.
Yeah.
And it could be this will be the first and last time they'll ever do it. Sometimes you're going to have people that will call on a regular basis, but you got to get there and you got to do whatever you can to help them out, get them in the right direction, and then you're going to end up moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think especially when, social media sensationalizes so many things, I always like to bring it back to square one, right? Like at everyone's core, no matter their job, but especially a police officer, knowing that 90% will be routine, 10% will be terrifying, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
And, you're most likely interacting with people on their worst day. Like, these are all just important things to remind people, even if, even if you're in the community and you have to interact with the police, it might be your worst day, but like, I want to believe that every single person comes with good intentions, and I really hope that people feel that way too. So, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the role of lieutenant governor, because we've listed a couple things that you're over, but I really want to do a kind of a deep dive and love for you to explain your role in shaping the tourism, economic development, and the future of Nevada.
Sure. So the lieutenant governor is the second highest constitutional office. There's the governor, the lieutenant governor, the controller, the treasurer, the secretary of state, and the attorney general. So those are the 6 constitutional officers in the state. It's primarily there when the governor is out of state or out of the country, then I'm acting governor, or something happens to the governor, then I have to fill in. That doesn't happen very often. So what do I do the rest of the time? So there's certain responsibilities that I've kind of, the office has developed over the last however many years. One of them, which is in the Constitution, is during legislative session, I'm the president of the Senate. So as most people know, there's the Assembly, there's the Senate. The president of the Senate runs the floor session when the Senate is in session. President of the Senate isn't involved in committees. Those are legislators do the heavy lifting. But when the senators have to come together on the floor, I actually run the meeting. And that's kind of a check and balance philosophy that the framers of the Constitution put in there. They wanted somebody from the executive branch watching the legislative branch to make sure that the rules are followed, to make sure there's decorum, procedures are followed. But that's only once every 2 years for 120 days. So during that period, I move up to Carson City just like all the legislators. I live up there. I go through the process. I get a couple of bill draft requests that I can implement. But I'm not in the trenches, as you would think, like legislators with committees and subcommittees and voting. I only get to vote when there's a tie. So what do I do the rest of the time? I am the chair of the Nevada Tourism Commission, so it is my job to get Nevadans to tour Nevada, get the rest of the country to tour Nevada, and get the rest of the world to tour Nevada. And not just Las Vegas and Reno. Las Vegas and Reno have kind of their own pretty robust tourism, convention, infrastructure. Obviously, Las Vegas is big. Reno's a little bit smaller. So I not only promote those two, but it's really the rest of the state, getting people to go to Tonopah, Ely, Winnemucca, Laughlin, Goldfield, Great Basin National Park, like I mentioned, kind of those places, because a lot of those towns, their economy is tourism-based. Someplace like Elko has a big mining industry, but they're still tourism-based. So the commission is primarily to get people to go to the rest of the state. I'm the chair of the Nevada Outdoor Recreation Advisory Board. Already talked about that. to promote outdoor recreation and make sure we have good infrastructure, get Nevadans to get outdoors and get the rest of the country and the world to get outdoors. I am on the governor's Office of Economic Development Board, so it is our responsibility to promote economic diversity. So on one side, promoting tourism. On the other side, we're trying to get companies to come to Nevada that are primarily non-gaming. And we've had a lot of success primarily because California is a lousy place to open up a business. Businesses are fleeing California on a regular basis. They just had this U-Haul study, and the number one place for U-Hauls to leave a state is California. We are 20th when it comes to people moving into Nevada. So we're having a lot of companies and a lot of industries moving to Nevada, really all over the world, coming here because of our business-friendly environment. We can get into that a little bit more if we have to. And then part of that is we have a tax abatement system here in Nevada. So if a company wants to move here and they're eligible for tax abatements, they can get that, which helps them pick up their company and move to Nevada. I'm also the vice chair of the Nevada Board of Transportation, so we oversee NDOT. So we oversee the thousands of state roads all over Nevada, whether it's I-15, 95, I-80, 395 up north, whether it's all the roads that you travel all over the state that are one way this way and the other way this way, that are very open, but can get a little bit dangerous when it comes to passing 18-wheelers. So we try to put in more of these passing lanes. So we want to make sure that state roads are up to date, they're engineered correctly, they're safe for residents, for tourists, and for commerce. And then beyond that, I can kind of do whatever I want because I'm the lieutenant governor.
When you say beyond that, I mean, you just listed.
That keeps me busy.
I mean, what else is there? I mean, that's amazing. Like, no, I mean, honestly, like that is the lifeblood of our state: tourism, outdoor activity, and economic development,
And
like
transportation.
And transportation, yeah. You're funny.
Yeah.
And then all the other things.
So if there's some issue that's out there, I want to champion. Like, I'm very involved in Veterans Affairs things. I just did the Nevada Christmas tree where we cut it down and brought it to Washington D.C. I was the lead on that. So there's other things that come up. So you know what?
Yeah.
I can do it because I'm the lieutenant governor.
Silver Bell.
Yes, exactly.
That's just the coolest thing.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really, I don't really understand. It was Nevada. For those of you who don't know, this is the first time Nevada was selected to provide the Christmas tree for the U.S. Capitol building. How does that work? Do they say, hey, Nevada, in 20 years, it's your turn?
No, every year the U.S. Forest Service gets with the architect of the Capitol who's in charge of the Christmas tree, and they decide where do we want the Christmas tree to come from, what state. And, a lot of it has to do with, the East Coast is closer to Washington, D.C. A lot of it is, I don't think a lot of people think we have trees in Nevada. We have the Tiobe Humboldt National Forest is the biggest forest in the lower 48, and a lot of that is in Nevada. We have a massive forest here in Nevada, and I think probably what happened, somebody woke up and said, you know what, I think Nevada has quite a few big trees. So last year they said, look, we're going to pick it from Nevada. I don't know who did that, but it was the U.S. Forest Service with the architect of the Capitol. The U.S. Service Force contacted me and said, we're picking a tree from Nevada this year. We need somebody that's kind of the point person that we can go to when it comes to the state of Nevada. And they asked me to do it, and I said, absolutely, I would do it. So I was responsible. I didn't pick the tree. The U.S. Forest Service picks the tree. But I was responsible for promotion and marketing, doing 25,000 ornaments, picking the ninth grader who was going to read the essay. They always have a ninth grader that reads an essay about that state. And
What
we
an
picked
incredible
Grady
example.
Armstrong, who did a great job, kind of being the person that promotes the tree around Nevada, and then eventually comes out to Washington, D.C., with the Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson at the time, with the family of the 9-year-old kid and whoever else wants to attend and represent Nevada. So it was about a 9-month process, but it was pretty great being on the Capitol grounds on a very cold afternoon in Washington, D.C., and a lot of speeches. I gave one about the state of Nevada. Ended up Grady and Speaker Johnson were the ones that lit the tree. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
You and I were both in Carson City for Nevada Day when Silver Bell came through the parade and then left from Carson and headed east across the state before it came down to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was there in the parking lot, and it was just saw it in the parade. There was just something it was just really magical because Nevada got to be highlighted in a way that nobody understood Nevada could ever be highlighted.
Yeah.
And so thank you 9 months of your time, but like it just was such a wonderful way for Nevada to shine. So
And people are writing their names on the truck,
I
and
did it.
yeah, no, absolutely. And it went through, after it left Nevada Day, went through Elko and I think Ely, maybe Winnemucca. Well, it had to go through Winnemucca.
Yeah, they made a couple stops.
Yeah, and then it ended up in Las Vegas, and then it went across the country. But yeah, it was, I think it was, I know the state of Nevada was very proud, and it was another mark for why Nevada is the way it is. And now people know there are trees in Nevada that they can go visit.
Hey, it's just helping you with your Get Outdoor campaign.
Absolutely.
So, when you think of future generations who will inherit the Nevada that you're helping shape today, what do you hope that the state holds on to, and what do you hope evolves?
Yeah, that's something you have to think about eventually, because we're not going to be around forever. Somebody's got to come in and take our positions and start doing what we're doing. It's hard to answer that because things are changing so much. I mean, the technology's changing, AI is coming about. Who knows what technology is going to be out there to deal with some of this stuff. I think when it comes to Nevada, there's kind of 3 areas that are really that have been important really from day one, and there's really 3 things. It's energy, land, and water. Those issues are going to be around for a long time. As you know, 85% of Nevada is owned by the federal government, so we're constantly working to get land released so we can grow commercially, we can grow residentially. People talk about affordable housing. You're not going to have affordable housing if you're not getting land released in order to build stuff. So that's something that we've been struggling with for the last 200 years. Water's another big deal. I mean, that's constantly something that we're always looking at. Do we have enough water to grow, especially here in southern Nevada? So we constantly need to look at the water resources that are available so we can continue to grow. And then energy is becoming a huge deal. I mean, we want massive resorts. We want economic diversification. We want technology to be a big part of Nevada, but none of that's going to happen unless we have energy, unless we have electricity, and that's something that we constantly have to work at. Data centers can be a big deal for Nevada. Creates great construction jobs for the future, good paying jobs for the future. But if we don't have the energy to power these data centers, so we need to start thinking like we normally think, which is different. We need to start looking at nuclear energy again. We need to start looking at geothermal. We need to start looking at hydrogen. Natural gas is already a big deal. Solar power is getting to be a big deal here, but takes up a lot of land to do something like that. So it's really those three things really power everything else. If we don't get land, we're not going to grow as tourism. If we don't get water, we're not going to be able to, survive here. And if we don't have energy, we're not going to be able to create the economic diversification um, to grow in the future. So I think those are the three things that we need to always constantly focus on.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're so proud of where we're heading, but if we don't make sure that we have the infrastructure, then we can't go after these big tech companies who want to come here because they're going to ask, well, how many graduates in X, degree do you guys have? Oh, well, we didn't build that. And I was talking to Joe Brown, and he was talking about how he was meeting with companies, 5 decades ago, and they were like, yeah, but you don't have X, Y, and Z. And he's like, you're right. And they built it. But I think we have enough smart people that we don't need to be told twice that something needs to happen, and we just need to build infrastructure now and make sure we have it. Thinking of the future, when you're looking back on your career and you're talking to young Nevadans, what is the one message you're going to talk to them about leadership?
I think, I think leadership starts with your own character. It has to start there. You have to develop your own character of integrity and honesty and courage and excellence and forward thinking and innovative thinking. It has to start with you developing that character that people want. Those values that I just mentioned, having virtue.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't develop those yourself, then nobody's going to respect you. Nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody's going to want to do things with you. They're not going to, if you have great ideas, they're not going to listen to those great ideas because they don't trust you. So I think you really have to first start with developing your own character so people have trust in you, they have faith in you, and then they'll start leaning on you for to develop their own values, to develop their own character. And once you do that, then who knows, great things are going to come from that. I mean, you're not going to get in a situation that is bad for you because you've developed this character that values good stuff. And once you do that, then you can start helping people in the direction that they want to go to. If somebody wants to be a police officer and they need a mentor, they're not going to come to me if they know my character's flawed because I'm going to push them in the wrong direction. So I think that's really where it starts. And then after that, who knows what can happen. So I just want these future leaders, these young people to understand that you don't develop that through social media. You don't get it there. There's a lot of garbage on social media. You develop your character by how you interact with other people, by what you learn in an educational environment, by learning from other people, by reading books about great men and women throughout history. That's where you really have to start, I think.
I love that answer, and I think that is well said, and I truly believe that people don't always look internally.
Yeah.
They're always looking for external guidance, and they're always looking for, well, what is everybody else doing? But you really do need to take that.
It's this social media like environment. I mean, there's so many people that want to do stuff because they want to be liked. They want that button push
With that clout.
with the like, and that you shouldn't be out there doing things where you think other people are going to like you. You need to be doing things where, number one, you like yourself, and you're doing things that are good for the community and good for the country. You're going to get likes from that, but that's not why you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why this I love social media. I spend a lot of time on social media. But you got to be careful about that environment. The internet is a great thing, but you got to be careful about the internet. So it's like my staff makes fun of me because I'm not in the office that much. And I said, well, what am I doing in the office? I need to be out in the community. I need to be attending events, talking to folks. I get really nothing. You guys are in the office because I need you there, but I need to be out there talking to folks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I love that advice. Well, thank you so much. Before we end, we're going to do some quick rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay.
Um, and this might be hard since you've got a lot of gems, but we'll narrow it down. What's your favorite local restaurant?
Bagel Cafe.
What's a must-visit spot for newcomers?
Valley of Fire.
What's the best outdoor activity?
That depends on what state, but since we're in Southern Nevada, Red Rock.
What's a hidden gem in Southern Nevada?
Hidden gem in Southern Nevada. The Ma Museum.
What's your go-to coffee shop?
I don't go to coffee shops. I drink coffee in the morning and then I'm out in the world.
Wherever you have a meeting?
I guess my go-to coffee shop's my kitchen.
Yeah. What's your favorite place to unwind?
My favorite place, the golf course.
What's the best view in Southern Nevada?
My backyard.
What's your favorite thing to do on a weekend?
Golf.
What's one must experience for visitors?
Fremont Street.
And lastly, what's the most underrated perk of living in Nevada?
Underrated perk. I don't know if it's underrated, but the great outdoor, the wide open spaces. I go to places back east and I get claustrophobic. But when you land in Nevada, anywhere really in Nevada, it's wide open once you leave the airport. And that's what I love about Nevada.
Awesome. I love those answers, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
And being on the Home Means podcast.
Very good. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening and being a part of the Home Means community. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with a friend, and check out our Nevada-inspired merch at homemeanspodcast.com. We'll be back soon with another story about the people who make Nevada feel like home. In the meantime, thank you for being part of the Home Means community.